Tim Gilmore, author, historian, blogger, and founder of the Jax by Jax Literary Arts Festival. Welcome, Tim.
Hey, Ann, great to be here.
Also here in studio, too, Darlyn Kuhn, author and poet, longtime director of the Jax by Jax Literary Arts Festival. Welcome.
Hi, Ann. Thanks.
Thank you. And Erica Saffer, writer, educator, storyteller, and new director of Jax by Jax. Welcome.
Hey, thank you, Ann. Thanks for having us.
Thanks for being here. And to our listeners, have you attended or presented at Jax by Jax? Share your story with us. Give us a call at 549-2937. Tag us on X at FCC On Air. You can message us on Facebook or Instagram, and you can connect to us on social media. Tim, let's start with you. What was your original vision for Jax by Jax? What prompted you to create the festival in the first place?
Yeah, so, I wanted it to be something where we could show off how many different writers we have in this community at one kind of thing. And centralize that and make it about listening, so people didn't read for more than 15 minutes, and it was about having Jacksonville hear the literary voice of Jacksonville, to celebrate the fact that we have this community here. Jacksonville gets beat up for lots of things, beats itself up for lots of things, and that often deserves it, but we have a great arts community in this town, so that was the initial impetus.
And so what are the rules of the festival? Participants must be born in Jax or live in Jax or write about Jax or use it as a setting. There's got to be sort of a connection there. Is that right?
It's loose, and I'm sure Darlyn and Erica will want to talk about how it has maybe shifted a little bit, but you never had to have been born here or anything. You never even necessarily had to write about Jacksonville, but if you are writing somehow set in this town, if you worked in this town, that was usually good enough.
All right. Darlyn, how did you participate in the first festival, and how did you come to take over running the festival?
Well, when I moved back to Jacksonville, after being born and raised here and then moving away for a lot of my life, in 2017, I was told that if I wanted to find my writing tribe, I should find a man named Tim Gilmore. And so I wrote him a lengthy email saying, "Hi, I'm here. I'm a writer. I'd love to come and talk to your students and get to know your friends." And he very graciously reached out to me and was nice. And so then he came to us after the first Jax by Jax that I read at, and he said, "Brad and Darlyn, you seem to have it together and love writers and writing, so will you take over the festival?" And I tell Tim that it's sort of like he had a beloved child and he needed someone to adopt it, and now we're co-parenting that child with Erica.
And it's a lot, right, Erica? I mean, it's no small task to be running this festival. Talk about what's involved and the moving parts.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, there's a million different moving parts to it. And then this year through 2023, we wanted to reach into the community and have exposures to Jax by Jax monthly. And so not only did we step into roles with other community organizations, we started hosting the Last Sunday Sessions, which are monthly free-to-the-public workshops held at Cork. And so there's genre-specific workshops, so individuals could come and they could have access to Jax by Jax. And so working through the year, we really just, started priming the pump, so to say, for Jax by Jax. And then the creation, the ideation, the organization of the festival, I think Darlyn could probably speak much more to the inner workings of all of those components. I'm in the back seat watching her throughout the course of this festival. And there are a lot of moving parts, but the community is just so rich. We have a great literary community in Jacksonville, and everybody wants to see Jax by Jax, especially the 10th year, succeed. And so the support, I think, is probably key, and that is the underlying, foundational component that makes the train keep rolling down the tracks.
And it is a supportive literary community. It's not a backbiting kind of ultra competitive. It's a very encouraging environment for writers.
Yeah, we were actually at Darlyn's house last week listening to some of the writers, and Johnny Musalevich was welcoming everybody into the community, and he said, "We take care of our own." And ne'er a truer thing has ever been stated about our writing community. We're friends, we're family, we're open, we are receptive to new ideas, ideation, collaboration within each other. And there's just an educational and an intellectual trust that I think we've built in the community. And so when we look at endeavors like Jax by Jax, that is at the forefront of it.
Tim, you're possibly the most prolific author in Jacksonville. I don't know anybody that churns out as many histories and blog posts about Jacksonville history, and just outright offbeat stories that you unearth. What inspires you to a story? What is a story that is attractive to you to tell?
I like outright offbeat stories. I think I might make that the title of a collection someday. Well, I think whatever the category or the genre or something of what somebody's doing, I always look for something that transcends that. So I don't ever want to be pigeonholed as writing just Jacksonville history. It sounds very dry like that, right? But if you look at some of the incredible bizarre often stories of the people who have inhabited this place, who have somehow soaked something up from it, and whether it be the phony serial killer Otis Toole, I think it's that's Darlyn's favorite of my books. That's a joke. Or
Couldn't sleep.
or somebody like Anna Fletcher, who was wife of Duncan Fletcher, but was a spiritualist and wrote books about seances. Or Willie Brown. Plan to have a book out next year about Willie Brown, this strange old man who lived on hundreds of acres by himself, and when he died, donated hundreds of acres to the Nature Conservancy, and now that's an integral part of the Theodore Roosevelt. It is the Theodore Roosevelt area of the Timucuan Preserve. So. I'm looking for the people and the places who say something intrinsic and fascinating about what this strange town is.
If you're just joining us, we're talking to the organizers and founders of Jax by Jax Literary Festival. If you're interested in visiting, participating, joining the festival, give us a call, 549-2937, or email us at WJCT. First Coast Connect at WJCT.org, or you can reach out on social media. Darlyn, how are artists and works selected for the festival?
We have a selection process where people send in their work, and we have an anonymous selection committee. And we do that because it is a very tight-knit community, and we don't want anybody getting mad at anybody if they're not selected this year. We just want them to come and visit and enjoy it and try again next year. But we have several very highly qualified people who love literature, are authors in their own right, and who probably teach it somewhere. Hint, hint. Things like that are what we're looking for. And they change from year to year. It's not always the same people. But they very carefully read every selection that is sent in, and they make very hard decisions. One thing that we try to do is we try to balance a mix of the voices that we've heard before that are just good writers and everybody expects to see them if they submit, and we like to have new voices. And one of the things I'm really excited about is our student showcase. We have students from Douglas Anderson School of the Arts, from FSCJ, and from UNF who submit their work. It is also a juried process. We have picked the top dozen to read to us this year at the showcase on Saturday. And a poet, wonderful, wonderful poet named Andres Rojas, has donated prize money to the Dr. James Robert Cobb Student Writer Awards. James Robert Cobb was his professor at FSCJ. And Andres came to the country as a young teenager, and he didn't speak much English. And this teacher took him under his wing, and he was a teacher at FSCJ campus. So it's sort of poetic that we're back there. And Andres tells us a little bit about Dr. Cobb and what he meant to him, and then awards these wonderful awards to the young writers.
Erica, what inspires you as a writer? What kind of stories most interest you?
Oh, that is a really great, really great question. I like the juxtaposition that is presented oftentimes in hidden themes. I like contrast. I like stories that parade as something that they're not, and you find surprises in them. So I'm really moved by like hermit crab essays, taking taking emails and telling narration by them, spilling your guts through a through Twitter posts. That's always very, very kind of at the forefront of my work. I'm also heavily influenced by my writing mentor, Alan Michael Parker. I met him at the University of Tampa's MFA program, and his work has always encouraged exploration, right? Exploration of self, really critically analyzing the situations and scenarios around what society says or presents should be one way, really pulling back the layers and finding the deep truths within them. I love Tim Gilmore's work. That goes without saying. His fiction, if you have not read Ghost Compost, you really need to. It is a phenomenal read. I read it every October for a good scare. It's on my list. So yeah, and other local artists. I mean, one of the best parts of Jax by Jax is you can collect a ton of different books written by local artists, and you can hear the stories behind the stories, right? You get to meet the authors, you get to have them sign the books, you get to have them tell a part of who they are and their writing process and learn from them. So when you sit down and you actually absorb their books, it's a full rounded experience, and it brings you closer to the community. So I think those are my main influences right now.
And so while Northeast Florida has a lot of great writers and great published authors, this particular year, the festival has some real marquee names.
Absolutely.
And unusual that you would have a former sheriff, Nat Glover, has recently come out with a book, a memoir. Our current mayor has a book that she wrote a few years ago. She's also going to be presenting. Talk about how that changes the profile maybe of the festival a little bit this year.
Well, I love the fact that, of both of those things. And, Donna Deegan has attended Jax by Jax before. I mean, she's that kind of person. She's that connected to the community, we have had over the last decade more than, and this is excluding the student showcase, more than 200 different writers locally. I always wanted literary arts to mean as wide a possible thing as it could, whether it's, it's novels or it's spoken word poetry or it's graphic novels and comics. But it really does feel great that this is year 10 and we're coming back to Riverside, Avondale, where it started. It's been in a couple different places, and this is the first time it's been at FSCJ, although always, sponsored by FSCJ people, including myself. But to have the former sheriff and the mayor there is really, and in year 10, it's a really great feeling. And Darlyn and her husband Brad needs some shout out too, because he has done a lot of great stuff for Jax by Jax over the last several years. But they professionalized it in a way that I don't think I ever could have. I joke that I disorganized Jax by Jax for a couple of years.
And the sheriff is the first. Does he kick off the
Yes,
festival?
he's kicking off the festival Friday at 6 p.m. So we're really looking forward. And I want to mention that
That's December 1st.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Friday, December 1st. And following his reading and a Q&A with Erica Saffer and a book signing, we're then going to have Willie Evans Jr. do a presentation of The Brown Wonder. And I have seen it, and your listeners want to see it. It is really good. And he's going to have a moderated Q&A as well, and then an immersion in some of the newfangled technology that I don't truly understand, where you hold your phone up to a QR code and it comes alive.
It's
Willie Brown
reality.
Yeah.
Willie Evans says that he likes to he's ready to download his brain or upload his brain. He's very into the digital future.
Yeah.
I actually interviewed Willie Evans Jr. earlier this year about the Brown Wonder, which so it's a compilation of chopping up sounds from music, video, and kind of incorporating his own cartooning. It's really impressive, but
That's
he
incredible.
also has a very serious foundation as to why he did that project. Let's hear a little bit about what he had to say about what his inspiration was.
The motivation to start the project came from when George Floyd was killed. I had a conversation with my son, and we were talking about something that happened in the news around that. I was asking him if he understood what was happening and why it happened, and his response was because people don't care about black bodies. The Brown Wonder is my effort to show him that there is an immutable part of the black experience that no one can take away or destroy or sully, and that's what this project seeks to do.
So the music that he's referencing in the Brown Wonder is the music of Stevie Wonder, the music of James Brown. Erica, this kind of shows, though, how broad the net is cast for the writers and creators behind the Jax by Jax Festival.
Yeah, indeed. One of the main focuses, I think, of Jax by Jax historically, and especially throughout the last year, is creating some cross-sectionality, right? Narration is told through many different formats, and we in Jacksonville have incredible leaders who are pushing the boundaries of cross-sectionality. They're working in multiple genres. They're narrating their own stories in surprising and often revolutionary ways. And so creating these opportunities for individuals to come and experience all of those different genres with the intention of narrating Jacksonville's story and progressing our narrative societally, intellectually, literarily, is the impetus of Jax by Jax, and we hope to continue that through 2024, year 11.
And so while the festival begins with Willie Evans Jr. and the sheriff, it ends with a reading by the mayor?
Yes, she will be the last reader, and then she will have an interview with Brad Kuhn, who is a journalist and does beautiful interviews. So I'm looking forward to that. And then she will sign books.
And this is her book about recovering from breast cancer.
Right, and we hope to have both books. She wrote an earlier book. The name is escaping me. Forgive me, Donna. But she has two books, and we hope to have copies of both books there. It's going to be a nail biter whether the boxes arrive on time, but that just adds to the drama and the fun. But she's going to read to us and then sign the books that we have.
And so this is a 3-day festival. Explain
Yes.
to us what else people can expect when they attend.
Oh, wow. Women Writing for a Change is a wonderful organization here in Jacksonville run by Jen Wolfe, and they are going to launch their latest anthology called And Justice for All on Saturday. And then on Sunday, Erica mentioned that we had 9 months worth of workshops over the course of the last year, and we figured out that, gosh, people didn't get to come to all of them, and they might want to try again. So on Sunday, we're having 9 concurrent workshops from noon to 3 at Kent campus, and there are just wonderful teachers with amazing subjects, and writers are going to enjoy those. And aspiring writers can come and dip their toe in the water and see what it's all about.
And so who's the audience for this, Tim? I mean, obviously the writing community, but does it have a broader appeal for people who maybe aren't authors?
Oh, I hope so. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I think anybody who likes stories, anybody who reads, anybody who, even if they don't read, I think anybody who likes taking in stories in whatever form. I mean, there's a screenwriting workshop, So I personally, I would say the audience is everybody, I mean, hopefully there will be a good student turnout too. But I think anybody who wants to have a good time and learn a lot of stuff about their community.
So because we officially had, the kickoff of the shopping season, Black Friday, people are starting to look at their holiday gift lists, and I've got to put you all to work because we trust your judgment. So make us a recommendation if you've got a local book and a not local book that people should be thinking about gifting their favorite readers for the holidays.
Oh boy, we have hundreds of writers in this town who are going to kill us if we don't mention their book. You've really gotten us in trouble here, Ann. One book that I think is outstanding is Julie Delagal's latest work.
Scene?
Scene.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Tell us a little bit about that for people who don't know.
Scene is a fictionalized version of a case that happened a long time ago in Jacksonville where a young man was just trying to get to a job interview, and he was spotted near the location of a murder, and he was arrested and put on trial. And
This is the Brenton Butler case.
well, yes,
A fictionalized version.
a fictional. It's not even set in Jacksonville. It doesn't use the particular facts of that, but it is loosely based on that idea that this kind of thing can happen, and it's riveting. And she won some very prestigious awards for it. And so when I think of what's a riveting read that I would give someone for Christmas, that's one.
Just briefly, Erica and Tim.
Yeah, Brooks Decker has a new collection of poetry, Purge and Bloom, which is just the narrative of my heart right now. So definitely check that out. Happy Taper Press. Also, if you want something in a shorter form, he has zines. He has these wonderful books. There's one about bags that's very interesting, so definitely check that one out. Oh goodness! And if you don't necessarily have a reader, but you have somebody who is really into listening to story, tickets to Bab's Lab, right? Tickets to attend a story slam. That would be a phenomenal gift.
Great suggestion, Tim.
Yeah, those are great answers. You both took a couple of mine. I would always recommend Andres Rojas's poetry. It's lyrical in this way that just comes to life in front of you and is gorgeous and deep and meaningful, and he kind of walks that walk too. And I'm an absolute follower of Andy's poetry.
Darlyn, I promised you an opportunity just to say that you've got some sponsors that you'd like to recognize for this event.
Thank you so much. Yes.
Just very quickly.
Yes. Alternate Roots, the Ford Foundation, the Mellon Foundation, Chamblin's Uptown and Book Mine, San Marco Books and More, and FSCJ, of course.
Well, thank you to all three of you for being here. We really appreciate it. Have a great festival.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ann.